started.
V-trap. Okay, knight f3, let's go knight f6, nice flexible response. G3. Okay, looks like maybe we're going for English system, or perhaps a King's Indian attack. Just get my knights out. Okay, he's just ignoring me. Okay. Okay, I will go for a counter fianchetto here. That's interesting. So the knight can come to c2 or c4. c4 would coordinate on the would coordinate on the e5 square. Let's castle here and see what his next move is. Is he going to play d4? But he went with d3. So he could be playing e4. Maybe that's his idea. So I could go for d4 here, right? d5 rather. d5 keeps his knight from coming to c4. And if he plays e4, I have the option to take, perhaps. Yeah, I can just take it. If his knight comes into b5, I can kick it. There's no squares here that it can stay. The bishop went to the bishop went to g5 rather, instead of f4. Let's kick that bishop and see what it wants to do. It wants to go back. Okay, so he's just trying to provoke a little weakness there. Let's see. Where do I want to put my light squared bishop? If I go all the way to f4, yeah, I don't think that does much. Okay, now he's routing his knight back to c2. So now it's looking at d4 and b4. Maybe he can play pawn to b4, pawn to d4. I can play e5 here, I think. Just grab a little more space in the center. And see how he wants to develop. I'm going to think about playing queen to c8 and bishop to... okay, he's lining up on my h-pawn. I got to defend that. That's the idea, defend with the king and the bishop. In some cases, this rook might even come to the h-file. Get an attack going here. But I don't think that's happening immediately. Not happening shortly. His queen went back. Okay, so I'm going here with a similar idea. I'm lining up with my queen and bishop, and I'm going to put a bishop on h3. And we'll see how he reacts to that. Yeah, sometimes they do that. Just drop the bishop back. But that's a bit risky. Leaving this bishop here, taking squares away from the king and the rook. So this pawn on f2 is very weak. I can play knight g4 immediately. But there's no sacrifice there just yet. Let's see, any other plans? Rook to the e-file. Getting the queen off the back rank. Let's just lift up the queen so the rooks can come over. Keep track of the f6 square because my king and queen are forking distance apart. Okay, and then maybe this knight is going to come over and cause trouble. I can play d4 here. And we'll see where that knight wants to go. I can't go to f5 or to g4. Can't come here. He can come to that square, that's right. So maybe I could play b4 first and then d5. Yeah, I don't think he's threatening to take anything immediately. And b4 followed by d. b5 followed by d4 here drives the knight back. So let's do that. At some point, if I can figure out how to get another piece attacking f2, that might be a good thing. Like knight g4, queen f5, and kicking this knight away somehow. Let's bring the rook over here. Maybe I can get in the move e4 at some point. Open up the center here. Okay, now he's looking at the b pawn. Let's defend that. I don't want to give up the c4 square. So I have quite an advantage in space in this position, but it's always hard to convert that to an actual win. You take on obligations when you grab this much space. You need to hold on to it or convert it to some useful purpose. I've gotten things off of this diagonal for the bishops. I'm not too worried about the bishop opening up suddenly. As long as I keep this knight protected, I don't have to worry about tricks like knight to g4 with check if this knight over here is loose. So if I were to play pawn to e4 now, pawn takes, knight takes. Can I get a second knight? Okay, so he's defending that square. I can still play it though. Pawn takes, knight takes, rook takes. Now the bishop is on it too. Okay, let's see. This pawn is not under attack at the moment, so let's reroute this knight to a better square. If his knight comes to e4, I'm going to take it. Let's see, I could think about knight g4 and pawn to f5 and push forward with the pawns. It's an interesting way to play, maybe. Yeah, so he just closes up over here. Let's kick this knight. I'm happy to close the queen side with a little more space. And now consider my plan. So knight to h5 or knight to g4 followed by f4 is one idea. The immediate e4 is not working. My knight coming to d5 was the one idea I had that he's taken away with his bishop. And if I play knight to g4, he can play f3 to kick the knight, which might be a little bit annoying. So how about knight here? Knight to h5, pawn to f5, and then knight back to f6. And then I can push on with e5, e4. Is that doing anything, this knight move? Maybe he's planning e6 there, but I think let's get that pawn forward. I do have to worry about this bishop being trapped at some point. I've blocked off the return route for the bishop. But how can he attack it? Okay, closed up the center, so knight back. Pawn to e4 now, pawn takes, I've got the knight on it, he's got the bishop on it. And that also opens up this diagonal for my bishop again, so it's moving, and yeah, it looks like I have pretty good, I've forced all his pieces almost back to the first rank. Yeah, so he plays f3 to blockade. can I play e4 anyway? That's the thing you have to ask yourself. Pawn takes, pawn takes, pawn takes. And then he's got doubled pawns there. I could move this pawn, this knight out of the way somewhere. Maybe here. And that way I can follow up with rook takes. Okay. Got to push forward. He has to take. He can't let me keep pushing forward, I don't think. that really ought to not work. If he just lets me continue to take space like that. Something will go horribly wrong at some point. Okay, does he have alternatives to taking? Can he do some clever piece move? I don't see it. His pieces are all kind of out of play. He didn't. He didn't take. Okay, if I take, then let's see. Say I take the d pawn. He can take back with the queen. If I take the f pawn, he takes back with the bishop. All those probably help him. So what I was thinking was that this move has got to be horrible for black, doesn't it? I mean, he has no piece coordination now. This pawn wall here interferes with all his pieces, and so I should be able to open up a line to the king here somehow and mate him. So maybe knight h4 and a sacrifice on. Well, you know, his knight is defending g3. Not so simple. Knight h4. Let's start with that. Bishop e4, queen d3. I can get like 3 pieces lined up on that square and sacrifice. Knight takes, pawn takes, bishop takes, knight takes, queen takes, check. And then where's the king going? I think that's mating. So those 3 pieces should win. Okay, I have to trade off the bishop. I don't have any good retreat squares. So let's continue with this idea of harassing his king. You know, the problem is that if I play bishop to d5, bishop e5, he can play f4. So I need to get in the move pawn to g4 here, I guess. Pawn to g5. So pawn g5, bishop e5. Sacrifice the knight. Knight takes, bishop takes, pawn takes, queen takes. Does not work because his king is there. The defense of the king and the knight are sufficient. Okay, what's another plan? Oh, I've got another knight. So I can get this knight all the way to... okay, let's try and keep it closed over here on the queen side. Bring the other knight to f3, so I can get multiple knights over there. Yeah, he does open up the... he opened up the A file. Didn't see a way to really prevent that. So let's... okay, I have to think a little bit here. If I ignore the threat, he's just going to double there. And that would be uncomfortable. So let's play here. Queen to c6, I guess, to defend. Then I have rook takes, queen takes, rook over. Or rook takes, queen takes, pawn takes, then the rook over. He can bring his rook over to defend. Well, the queen sitting here is not bad, really. I could think about g4, g5, g4, attacking this pawn here on f3. So he went with the trade. I'm a little happier with this. I was a little bit afraid he would just move the queen up and try and triple on that file. Okay, so let's leave it like this. And let's play this this g4 move. So g4, g5. Am I threatening to take there? Or bishop here, knight here. Okay, let's see. He's moving his rook around. I'm not sure what that will accomplish. Ah, he's making space for his other knight to come over. Let's see. Where can his knight go? Here, 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 and here. Let's line up with the queen. Oh, let's think. Okay, he brought his knight over to defend f3. So if I place the pawn forward, he can't take, but when I take, he can take back with the knight instead of the pawn. Yeah, you know, he's putting together a good defense. So let's shift my attention to the G pawn here. So knight here. Knight to f6. You know, the other idea with the pin, if I put the queen back on c6, the knight could go to g4. And then from g4 it could actually get all the way into f2. I can't go there now. He unpinned. Okay, this is too frustrating. Okay, so knight takes, pawn takes, bishop takes, knight takes. Does not seem to work. Pawn forward, he just plays his pawn forward. That's probably the idea. I push one of these pawns forward and then sacrifice a piece on g4 to open it up. So how's the best way to arrange it? So f4, g4, knight takes g4, pawn takes g4. Where's this knight going? This knight is stuck. But then I have this pawn forward and taking there is not working. Oh, man. Okay, I'm dropping this knight back with the idea of bringing more pawns forward. Somehow I have to open up a line to his king. Ah, he sacrifices. Oh, he's not sacrificing. I left my bishop hanging. Bad, bad, bad. Okay, so this will initiate some action. I can take the pawn here. He can take the pawn there. I take back. He takes my bishop. Amazing. Okay, so what's a good move here? Bishop takes, knight takes. Knight takes actually defends the bishop. If he takes the pawn on, he didn't. Okay, so I'm just taking there. So it's just a trade. I didn't lose material. And he still has problems over here on the king side. But kind of Helped him out a little bit, getting rid of a couple of my attacking pieces. So he's just pushing his pawns forward. That's probably a good idea. Okay, let's get this rook over here defending my advanced pawn here. That's the pride of my position. Oh no, he's winning the knight here. I can't believe I'm losing this game. Can't believe it. Okay, I have to do something about this knight before I lose more material. Is there something clever I can do with that knight? Okay, well now I can sacrifice the knight over here, but he can take with the queen. Maybe rook here, hitting the bishop. Crazy.
Check.
That's not good.
Check.
Checkmate. Wow, he beat me. That's amazing.
Checkmate.
Okay, I'll upload this and do a postmortem. See you guys later. Bye.